Actual electrical content, yeah. That's a Pilts relay, otherwise known as the emergency stop relay, yeah, they're absolute cunts. And the worst start today was, I dropped this, which is black connector block, and it fell on that black oily floor, and it took me over half an hour to find it. Without this, the spare relay I've got worth 300 quid is fucking useless. So anyway, I found that, I'll put that safe in this shit box. And then what I found in here was, which is a lesson to you all, yeah, this trunking, you'll see I've refixed it, look, with screws. That was loose, and some of this was loose. And this is coming up as a fault every now and again. Well anyway, I leant on the door like this, and the panel shook and the fault light come on. And then when I checked these cables were seated correctly, one of them weren't, neither was the plug. And I suspect that the loose trunking, which was dangling off down here, was pulling on these cables and just intermittently making that fault light, which was switching the whole fucking thing off. So yeah, it's not always electrical. I don't like the way this wobbles either, but yeah, when I was doing that, I could get it to light. What I did was, instead of recording it on my work phone for posterity, I just checked the cables. I shouldn't have done that. I should have continued to get the fault, then I should have checked the cables and proved it's gone away. But you can see at the minute, yeah, that vibration is not affecting, the fault light's not coming on. So all I can do now is hand it back over to them. They can run it and see if that fault light reappears. But I'm pretty sure, just the bad maintenance, it was plastic riveted. They've snapped up the vibration, it's fell off, it's pulled the cables and it's just unseated them. We hope. Here's a quick sparky tip, yeah. If you are thinking about getting into electrical controls, control panels, anything involving process and that, and you're working control panels, yeah, if you go in there and don't put the lid back, you're a fucking cunt, yeah, and you deserve to be run over by a bus. If you go in panels and don't put the lid back and you get run over by a bus, no one will care. You cunts. Cheers. Actual electrical content, Happy New Year. This is Wank. I'm back at this emergency stop relay up here, and it's still fucked. So I'm going to record this because, to be honest, it's fucking bad enough going through it on my own anyway. At least I feel like someone's here to record it, or that I'm speaking to someone that might actually get something from it. Yeah. Right, here's the situation. That's going to fault again, the safety relay, which is 24F2. Now, 24 means it will be on page 24 of the drawings. F2 just means it's a functional device, number 2. So let's prove that. Page 24, they found the drawing since my last visit because I had a MARD. And it is indeed a Pilts 4.1, S4.1 is 24F2. It's the, I can't see another F on that page, but maybe they didn't start at 1, maybe they don't start at 1, I don't care. It corresponds with this, yeah? And I can see it controls 2 safety relays, 24Q1 and 24Q2. There they are, 24Q1 and 24Q2. So I'm sort of getting the gist, I've got the right drawings. I know that this is the outputs, and this, my S11, S12, and S22 and S21, they're my safety chain. So they go to pages, look, 16 and 17, and 17 and 16, so they're cross-wired. One goes round the ring one way, and one goes round the ring the other. This is just what you get when you've worked with drawings for a long time, and this is what you need to be able to do. So yeah, that little bit of information there, they're mishmashed, tells me something. Look at that for a drawing. Welcome to the world of safety circuits. So, it's not as old as it looks. Here, look, I can see, there's my thingies, look. There's my S11 and S21 at one end. Go down here, down this chain. Next page. Down that chain, and they cross over there, look. S22 and S12. So those contacts there are my safety circuit, my relay. They need to close at the same time. Every single one of those circuits is dual monitored. Yeah, there's a contact and there's a contact. They need to close at the same time. That's what the safety relay does. Monitors those close at the same time. So we need to back up a little bit and look at what the first thing on this safety chain is. On a safety relay, there's no shortcuts. You've got to be methodical. Go through the drawings. You must have drawings. If you ain't got drawings, you've got to do it all by hand. It'll take you fucking forever. You've got to go through it methodically, a bit at a time, in line with the drawings, which is what we do now. So let's have a look at them. First thing in my chain, these 2 contacts here, fed from relay K1, which is the watchdog timer. That watchdog timers I could go over, I could do an whole video on. There's my watchdog timer. Fuck's sake. I'll edit this. There's my watchdog timer, look. 0 volts, 24 volts and a trigger. So that's just going trigger, 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 or something like that. It'll be giving out a pulse, and that output will energise when that watchdog timer is there. It's basically that PLC there will be told to go on, off, on, off, on, off. And if that watchdog timer doesn't see that on, off, it knows that the PLC is broken, so it'll stop that output, which is the first thing on the safety chain. So this is monitoring the PLC for operation. There's the watchdog timer. It's active, so that's good. There'll probably be an output on 6, and that 6 ends up down here on this sum mod, and it should be on there, 1S. So look, comes in off the timer and goes to 11S, so I'll check that now and report back. That's how you break it down, and that is a very, very small part, that's very, very simple, of all of this mess. All of this, which I've got to slowly walk through now. Ideally, I'd photocopy these, which we haven't got facilities to do. I need a printer in my van. Oh, I've got a printer in my van, actually. I might go and scan these so I can highlight them. I'll see how I get on, but I'm probably going to consider in a minute, I'll go and scan these drawings, reprint them so I can use my highlighter on them, because I'm going to work from so methodically, I want to just highlight what I've done, because there's no way around this. So I've got my neutral down, I'm going to get a crocodile clip for that in a minute. I've tested the output of that, which is 6. It's there, 24 volts. And I've tested here, 24 volts. Don't worry about it, it's close enough. So that means this first section here is healthy. Now, because of the unique way that this clever device is wired, I think this relay's behind here. It's just a multiple relay thing. I think I'm just going to spend a little bit of time looking at this drawing, because I think I could do all my testing here, make life easier. I'm sure if I just move along here, I'll eventually lose my 24 volts, and that will indicate to me which one of these things here has lost its voltage. So this is making it easier than it normally would be. So I'm just going to invest a bit of time now in looking at this drawing properly, seeing exactly what this SIRMOD thing does, and I think I could just bounce along here looking for the voltage, and as soon as it disappears I'll know that that pair is what's missing, I hope. Right, what I worked out was, this is quite a clever thing. This is just a load of relays but assembled into a good relay. So every single one of these relays, S1, S2, S3, S4, S5, S6, S8, has to be energised to energise this one. So all of these inputs are here. It's like a little logic gate type thing. So, for example, I pulled out S51, and you can hear the click. So that's clicking that master relay. So if any one of these go missing, it docks out this master relay. Well, then that master relay trips my e-stop, I believe. I'm going to prove that, but that means that all of these are working, really. So now I just need to see if this master relay is working, or is that what's suffering from the vibration? Because last time I was here, rattling this door, fucked this up also. That's still in fault. So have I got a problem down here? We're getting there, but yeah, this is something you've got to watch out for, because this has got goodies hidden within that could mess up your testing, although in this case, the drawing looks complicated. What this does is, I've looked a bit more. All these inputs here, S1, S2, S3, S4, are just things. They all combine, when they're all on, it will energise this relay, which I think relates to these cables here. I've got to have a quick look at that in a minute. This one here I've got to find out, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, they signal back to the PLC which one of these isn't working, but I'm losing the entire lot, I'm just losing safety chain. So now, I know that these aren't coming up on my PLC when I have a fault, but this is failing, so I think these individual ones are working and signaling to these, but I'm just losing it somewhere on this side of this relay. It's separated here. All of this goes through this relay to separate it to these. So I think I've got a fault between this relay here and my safety relay, but I'll check my drawings for that. But this is the process. I'm not trying to say that's right or wrong, I'm just showing you how to work through it. So all this can be disregarded because it's just this bit. This one at the end is an external supply. That is, they are switching that, and that is switching 1 and 2 there, look. And they are capable of switching externally. See all the others are inputs, look, to coils. Yeah, so that one's coming in and going to K16. That K17 there is switching that contact. So that is just an electrical mechanical switch. That is switching something externally. So I can check that now and rule that out. So this one, which is external switch, K17, when these do their thing, that should switch, I'm guessing. Or does that switch off something else? What I've noticed is what's got me thinking is now, look, I've got my meter in there. That's a closed contact at the minute. But it's not being switched. I'm not sure if that's right or not. I need to check. But yeah, I thought that would switch that, but it doesn't. I need to now look back at my drawings to see if I'm right or wrong in what I'm saying. Because that is not switching that relay like I thought it would. But that was an assumption. It wasn't off the drawings, so I'm looking back at my drawings now. I was wrong to assume that. That actually takes its feed off a plus through this link here, and then picks its other side up off these links here, which I haven't worked out yet. There's a link there, look. And it come back itself. But what I did notice is there's a test link here, S9. And when I pull out that S9, which I'll try and do for you one-handed now, it goes off, yeah. So that means I assumed something and I made an error. I still haven't proved whether that's working correctly or not, but I think any one of these being active, or some of these being active, will bring that on. So what I'm going to do now is, I'm just going to stop because I'm clearly getting flustered. I'll have a break. But I think I've proved a lot, but I still think my problem lies between this relay and here. So I'm just going to stop, have a chill out, and I'll come back to it. Otherwise, it's all going to fucking tits up. Just before I have to notice that each one of these inputs to the PLC for these individual readings of what's going off is via this plug. Well, this plug's just pulled off now, so assuming they're all normally closed, they're not, they're normally open, look. Or are they breaking? I don't know, but I think they're, I think if after that it clicks, so I'm guessing that they're, well, I'll go to the controller and see if they've all fucking come up. Because if they've all come up now, I can prove that this is not at fault, and then I really am working on this bit then. I'm sort of getting confused now as to how this works, but this is what's really happening in my head. This isn't edited for anything. I went for a brew. I thought, fuck it, I'll pull this one off. That's operator relay. It's not this one. It's a relay I can't see, so I'm just going to go and get a screwdriver, take this end plate off and just see what's going on behind here. There might be a big fucking fudge mark on this, but I suspect my problem lies here still, and that's proving that more, and then we'll bell these through. All the faults that are on here, the text that's come up on the screen, all 6 bits of text, match the text in the book. So if I plug that back in now, they must be normally closed, because obviously if that socket fell out, all those faults would come up. That's the benefit of normally closed, because if it's normally closed and the socket falls out, you lose it. If it's normally open, you just won't be able to signal it, so that's why normally closed is better. It's fail-safe. So if I push that back in now and go to the other end, all those faults should disappear and it should reset. I will just put that one back in for now, just in case that affects it. Then I can say that this is all coming in here, it's all going out there, right, and it reinforces the idea I've got that my fault is here or on the back of this board. I'll go and reset them now. They've all reset, which proves the point that I'm not getting any of those faults when I get the trip, which proves to me that the trip is on that relay board. Now we are getting somewhere. So let's go back. What I don't realise is it's a fucking minutes walk round. I've come and hid in the van to have a cup of tea, some cereal and a chocolate bar. So that card, that is possibly my issue. But what I know is that card is doing a clever thing. What it's got is it's got, say, 10 inputs, yeah, that need to be healthy at 24 volt. And those 10 inputs control 10 relays. The good thing about that is then it can have a safety chain, which is basically just a ring circuit with switches on. So if any one of those switches goes off or any one of those 10 things fails, it trips. But it can be configured so that 1, 2 and 3 have to fail, or 4, 5 and 6 have to fail. It's quite a clever card. But anyway, the basic form, it's got 10 things that it can trip the circuit, but each one of those 10 things can signal back to tell you which one of the 10 things it is. So it's quite a clever bit of kit, but it's got lots of relays in that could have gone wrong. And now I've got to work out whether I'm going to test them and prove that, or whether I'm just going to say it's fucked and change it. I am well tempted to say it's fucked, but I've got to prove that, really. I'm not one of these people that just says, oh, that's fucked, change it, unless I get to the end of my tether. There might be another one I can steal on this job to try it. So I might go and nick one off another engine. But my spidey senses are telling me I've just got to prove it, because when I get a problem, I'm not getting the individual fault, which says to me it's just jumping out. If I had a fault on one of those 10 things, it'd latch in and it'd say fault on number 3 and it wouldn't disappear. But I'm not getting that. It's like the loop of my safety chain is just failing and bouncing out, and then I'm not getting a fault. if that makes sense. I hope some of this is making sense to you. This is what goes off in my head on a fault. And safety relays, as I said in a video yesterday that I put out, safety relays are the fucking worst. Safety chains can be massive and they've got to be broken down, so you have to start winging it a little bit. But yeah, I might go and try and change that card next. That's the thought I didn't have. That's why I come from a serial, you see. So, here's where I'm at. I've took that card out of there. This one down there, you'll see I've already had it out because I can't do it for another video, yeah? I've inspected this from top to bottom for signs of things, for signs of cracked solder joints, the whole lot. I'm going to re-inspect it in a minute, but as you can see, it's just got a load of interface relays on, as per that drawing. You could Google that, it's not a secret part. I'm going to be Googling it later. But it acts as like an I/O board, more of an and or not type gate, a logic gate type thing. I'm not convinced it is this, because it looks to be in really good condition, but then again, these are quite well built with the Japanese relays. So, you can't keep running these machines and waiting for them to go off, but I could have at any point on this job stuck something back in that was a bit loose. I'm still not checked this side, so I'm going to put it back together. I'm going to check these cables to the relay, because it's still in fault. That's the interesting bit, it's still in fault, so I'm going to check these now, and I'm going to check these pins as well, because 2 of those should be closed on here. So maybe I'll test them. I'm just thinking out loud now, because I'm pretty happy with this bit and these bits. So it's here really, isn't it? Right, let's test this. If this doesn't work, I've got one of these on another engine that I can pinch to prove it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what my brain's going through. But I did say it was over here, and they only go to there. So let's check them out. So what occurred to me was, these are all green now. If I remove that, they just go off. They don't give me a fault. And I plug them back in and they come back on. Now, that fault will be because something on the safety circuit's not right. Well, that energizes these relays, this one and this one. And it monitors these relays here on this auxiliary, and there's an auxiliary here. So if they don't pull in at the same time or operate correctly, that will come up with a fault. Then I noticed this one goes in nice. This one is stiff as a board. I think there's something wrong with that. So yeah, it's very rare to lose a pilts, but if they don't pull in correctly, you'll get a fault. Now what I deduce is, I think this is ABB lock. ABB, then nothing else ABB, but this is ABB, this is ABB, this isn't, and neither is this. These have probably been replaced already. Maybe this one does a lot of graft, but look at that. It's contactors don't sound like that. I'm going to see if I've got one of them and swap that, because that not operating right will do that. The problem is this doesn't reset till it starts. So I can break it, look, but it's not there. So yeah, my money's on that now, which is non-electrical, but all this seems okay. So what I found was, on that stiff contactor, on top of it, there was a wasp nest, which looked like, has anyone done anything with wasps? It looked like plaster dust, but when I undid it, there's like these yellow cocoons inside, and I suspect that's crumbled and gone in the contactor, and that's what's fucking it. I haven't took a picture of it, I don't think. I've got some pictures of it. I'll put one in a bit. I'll make it into a story, but yeah, if anyone knows how about wasp nest, I think they eat stuff and mix it with spit, and it's like a brown plastery type substance. I suspect that's gone in the contactor and is what's giving the trouble. Either way, because it's an e-stop relay, I found a problem before, it was loose, it was shaky, I fixed that. I've checked all the interfacey I/O logic card thing. I think that's alright. I'll come back with the oscilloscope tomorrow. And then on top of it, I found the wasp nest and that stiff contactor. That stiff contactor is part of the safety stick, so I've now got to go and acquire one of them and come back tomorrow and change that before I can move on, because with safety relays you've got to fix it before you can move on. Welcome to the world of being a real electrician. I am driving this desk today, look. Whee! Just been doing all my boring admin, because if you don't do it, it all catches up with you. And that is bad. So yeah, I've paused for the morning to do expenses, order some parts, order some locks, all the boring shit that makes the fucking job go around. However, I'm just about to escape to go and buy the replacement contactor. I'll put the picture above. Everyone's like, oh, what's up with the contactor? Don't worry, the story's not over. The safety contactor's not finished yet. Like I say, Every time you find something wrong with the safety relay, you've got to rectify it. Even if it's a little bit wee-wah, woo-wah, you're not sure that's what's causing it, it's got to be rectified, because you can't move on, can you? Because there's so much of a pain in the arse, delicate, touchy systems that a contactor that's been run by it with a fucking wasp nest on, picture above, needs to be rectified. So I am going to go and grab that contactor now, grab a couple of them, put them in the van, and I've got to get a few other bits and bobs, sort my admin out. I'm a bit low on stock on some stuff. Sort all that shit out today, then I'm going back down there tomorrow to sort this mother out. I had a good check over everything else, and I think that's the only part I'll need. If I do need more parts... That contactor is the stiffest contactor I've ever felt. They're either seized or they don't move. That is definitely the ingress of that wasp nest in. I'll take a video of that wasp nest tomorrow and take that contactor out. It's really weird. It's like dried plaster. It's really crumbly. I think it is generally made out of spit and dust. But yeah, it's got like these yellow tubes in it. It's fucking horrible. It looks like some alien shit. Put it this way, if it's not there when I get there tomorrow, I'll shit my pants. Because it could be some alien spawn. But yeah, if anyone's dealing with wasp nests, in fact, I'll just Google it in a minute and have a look. But yeah, it's the first time I've had a wasp nest, which is a bit weird because it's specifically on top of that one contactor. I really am confused about that, and it will form part of the story of that thing. But yeah, not had that one before. But I better go and get one, otherwise I'll be sat here talking and wait for doing a job tomorrow. Whoops. Genuine insect content. That's exactly what it's like. It was like this. It was made out of mud with these tubes in. Didn't have that bit though. But it had these tubes, and they've got what they call a mud dauber inside. The problem is, they're not very common in the UK, but the engine came from somewhere else. So maybe this has been there for years, although I suspect it wouldn't have survived the transport. Or maybe in that part of the world where they're there. But yeah, that looks like what it is. Back here on this E-stop fault, after I found this dodgy contactor. If you look in there, look, you can see that little nest, which I'm going to deal with now. So I'm going to get that nest out, isolate this, change that contact, see if it makes a difference. But there's definitely a dodgy nest in there. I'm going to get it out. But what I'm going to do is protect the top of this computer, because otherwise it'll all end up in there and I'll be in even more trouble. I've covered that up so no shit can get in there. Now I'm going to take the lid off. I'm going to try and pull this out as a wanna, and then transfer the cables over one at a time so I don't make any mistakes. So I'll get that out, drag it out here and swap that, and then I will see what this fucking goo is. It's definitely some sort of wasp nest made out of spit, as I saw the other day, which is weird anyway. Look at that. That's what happens when you stack contacts up dead close together and the heat can't get out. So that's not looking good, so might be onto something here. And it is stiff, as we know already, so I'm going to swap it now. That's back on now. That's been changed. There's no shit on it. I've cleaned all the shit out. I've made sure that's all nice and tight. I'm not totally convinced though. I won't know till it runs. The problem is here is, I had the loose trunking, which could have been causing a fault. I had a load of shit in this contactor, which could have been causing a fault. So I'm rectifying things that could be potential issues, but I've never actually really found the issue, the smoking gun. Sometimes you can have faults on faults. The worst kind of faults are faults on faults on faults, because you've got a series of things that are causing faults, and obviously intermittent faults, and this is both. So now that's been changed and there's not a load of shit in it, at least I can rule it out. I'm not saying that's it done and it's not going to go into fault again, but that's ruled it out. The next thing I'm going to do is I've got a pilch reader to swap as well. So it's just a fucking process of going at it, trying this, trying that. I won't put that back though if it is found to be not fault, because it had shit in it. It's suspect. I've got to reset it now and get over to the mechanical guys who run the machines, because I don't know how the fuck they work, and see what happens. It normally goes within about half an hour. If it goes within half an hour, we're back again, aren't we? So I'm not fucking genius, and you're not going to ever learn how to just fix this stuff. It's a case of ruling stuff out, trying new stuff, and trying to find the fault, prove it's a fault, and then replace the part. But could be a fucking loose cable somewhere here, I don't know. But you've got to go at it. There's no shortcuts. I'm in the van hiding because it didn't work. So it weren't the contactor, although on a safety circuit, like I say, if you find something wrong, you've got to rectify it. So there was a wasp nest on top of the contactor. Some of the wasp nests have gone in the contactor, so it's been changed. So I can rule it out, don't have to worry about it. You can hear it chugging away in the background now. It lasts about half an hour again. The timing is getting to me. What's happening after half an hour? Is it consistent? We'll start measuring that timing now. I've made a note of what time it started. I've just changed the pilch relay. They don't have to go down, but I've got a spare one. But in this game, change the most likely thing. You try it, then you change something else. If you go change 8 things at a time, you'll never know what it was, and you could have thrown away thousands of pounds worth of parts. Bearing in mind a filter relay's 300 quid, so contact was 70 quid. Tried that, didn't work. Maybe I'll just keep the old one. Filter relay's gone in, see if that works. After this, it's going to be wiring, which is going to be an absolute cunt. I'm also just sitting here listening to see if I can hear anything untoward. If it stops, I'm concentrating. If anything goes off, I'll know just before. I will go to the extent of recording it on a phone in a minute, and I'll go to the extent of fitting my phone in the engine where the problem's occurring, leaving the camera running, and then going back through the footage to see what happened at the time. That's where I'm at. I don't think it's wiring. I think it's something physical, but yeah, next option is recording the sound, listening to that in there, in the machine, and putting the video camera on it, and just going back through the footage just before it goes off, a frame at a time, to see what fucking happens. Yeah, exciting, eh? Hey! It worked. It is, more than likely, a faulty pilch relay. So I've changed the pilch relay. It ran, no problems. Left that contactor in because it had shit in it, so it would possibly cause a problem in the future. That's been changed for a new one. What I've got to get used to is there's a lot of vibration on these, so they probably do break. This one does work though, but intermittently, so I'm going to take this one away and play with it, see what it does. But yeah, problem solved. There you go. Took 3 days, changing various bits and bobs, but in the end, I'm pretty confident it was this, with a little bit of that and a bit of little loose trunking. And that is hopefully the end of this tale. And because I'm a proper engineer, yeah, I've put the trunking lid back on. I've put the idents back on, so that it's all capable next time of people coming in here and reading what it is. I ain't just left them blank and chucked the old ones in the bin. I've swapped them over because they're what makes life easy. And if you just change the contract, don't put that back, that makes it really hard for the next guy, which could end up being you.
Just because you've got a face like my fucking beanbag, mate.